Good evening, champions. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. Yours truly, Arian, Tyson, back at you. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but you know how technology is. Hey, what's up, sis? You really have made my day today, so thank you so much. Let some people know that I'm on live. I trust that you all's day has been a peaceful one, that has been a blessed one. Yeah, I am still shocked and stunned, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I'm not mad at all. That's what I get for trying to multitask. All right, we're going to get this going momentarily. I got a great topic for you all. Something that's near and dear to me, something that I know is going to bless you all. Awesome. Hey, champions, welcome to tonight's edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. It's yours truly, Arian Tyson. I'm back at you sitting in my office here in St. Louis, and I am just excited. I'm honored to be back before you tonight. It is a Tyson Terrific Tuesday, as it has been called in the past, and nevertheless, we're going to dive in. I apologize for the technical difficulties. My old phone was acting crazy, and nevertheless, we are here through the technical difficulties and all. And Pierre, my nephew Chris actually is responsible for that beat that you hear every Tuesday when I come on. So I'm just keeping it in the family. So having said all that, what's up, Danielle? What's up, champ? Having said all that, I want to dive into something. And I trust that your day has been a blessed one, that has been peaceful. And if you get value out of anything that goes for tonight, make sure you leave me a comment in the comment section. Make sure that you share this podcast when it's up and when it's live and so on and so forth. So let's dive in. I want to talk about, we often talk about the things and want to know the things that can make our life better. But I want to flip it, and I want to talk about some things that could possibly ruin your life. Because a lot of the things that we go through happen, there are circumstances beyond our control, but there are also things that are self-inflicted. And so I want to share with you some things to really think about. Here's what I'm discovering in this season of my life. And a lot of you all that are on know me personally, so you know what I'm referencing and what what I've been through over the last 13 months or so, I come to realize that it is our choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. And so often, against our better judgment, we accidentally make the wrong choices. Our pride oftentimes has us holding on when we need to let go. Pressure from peers sways us to the left when we mean to go right. And so it goes. One choice at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time, we ruin the most promising days of our lives. And if you can relate at all, it's time to answer what I like to call your wake-up call. Let me ask you something. How many times have you thought in your mind, oh, this isn't working, or something is not right, or things have to change? Those thoughts are coming from your intuitive inner voice. It's your wake-up call, calling. You don't need, and I can attest to this, and I'm a living witness to this, you don't need a major life crisis to wake you up either. And no one needs to tell you what needs to change. Because guess what? You know why? Because you already know what needs to change. Your inner voice has been trying to tell you, but in case it's been a challenge to find time and space to listen through the chaos, maybe you'll resonate with one of these situations that I'm going to share with you. For example, let's say if your life is on autopilot, heading in the wrong direction, this is your wake-up call. If you become someone you don't recognize simply to please others or to chase some version of success that doesn't really resonate with you, this is your wake-up call. If you never make your own needs and your own goals a priority, this is your wake-up call. If you are constantly numbing out with food, shopping, booze, weed, TV, or other distractions, this is your wake-up call. If you are someone who feels worn down, beat up, stressed out, and completely exhausted, ladies and gentlemen, this is your wake-up call. Getting your wake-up call is not the hard part. Answering the call is the hard part, right? Choosing to answer the call instead of ignoring it is the hard part. Now, right now, it may feel easier to keep going and going and going without making a change. But you know, if you don't find a way out of this endless cycle you're in, it's going to ruin you. Are you with me? Now, no doubt, a big part of your life is a result of the choices you make. I'm going to say it again. A big part of your life is a result of the choices you make. And if you don't like your life, it's time to start making some changes, and it's time to start making better choices. Having said all that, I want to share with you not one, not two, not three, but 7 ways you can ruin your life. And I'm going to speak to you while I speak over myself as well. 7 ways you can ruin your life. First of all, number 1, you can ruin your life by trying to be who everyone else wants you to be. I'm a witness to that. And I believe in being authentic. I believe in being transparent. That's something I used to struggle with. But I'm at a place and space in my life now where not only am I comfortable in my own skin, but I know who I am and I know who I'm becoming. Let me ask you something. Can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? Think about it. Now, as kids, we are seldom told that we have a place in life that is uniquely ours alone. But instead, we are encouraged to believe that our life should somehow fulfill the expectations of others. And I was blessed to be able to speak on a radio show back in January where we talked about clinging to unrealistic expectations and that we need to stop clinging to those unrealistic expectations. The thing about it is, instead we are encouraged to believe that our life somehow should fulfill the expectations of others, that we should find our happiness exactly as they have found theirs. But how many of you all know that's utterly ridiculous? Because what works for one person is not going to work for everybody else. Rather than being taught to ask ourselves who we are trained to ask others for permission. We are, in effect, schooled to live other people's versions of ourselves and our lives. Are you with me? Every day is designed and developed and as told to us by someone else. And then one day we break free to survey our dreams, seeking to fulfill ourselves. We see that most of our dreams have gone unfulfilled because we believed, and those around us believed, that what we wanted for ourselves was somehow beyond our reach. And that's crazy. A second way that we can ruin our lives is when you decide that you can't do it. I don't like that word can't. I don't. So think about something. Think about one self-limiting belief that you have. One area of your life where you believe you absolutely cannot do it. It can be any part of your life that you hope to change. It could be your health. It could be your weight. It could be your career. It could be your relationships. Anything at all. What's one thing you've essentially decided is a fact about your place on earth? And then I want you to shift gears and think about one time, just one time, one fleeting moment in which the opposite of that fact was true for you. I don't care how tiny of a victory it was, or even if it was a partial victory. What's one moment in time you can look back on and say, hey, that was totally unlike me, but guess what? I did it. Once you identify the cracks in the wall of a self-limiting belief, you can start attacking it. You can visualize and attack. One of my favorite movies is The Waterboy, and the coach instilled in his players and in Adam Sandler's character to visualize and attack. I'll give you an example for me. One of the things that I always thought I could not do, which was completely garbage, is what I'm doing right now. Because I grew up very shy. I grew up very quiet. I grew up literally thinking that my voice didn't matter. Now I look back and I say, shame on you, Arian. Shame on you. But that's because it got to the point where someone challenged me to attack it, to visualize myself in front of a camera, speaking life into others, visualizing myself on a stage, speaking life into others. And then, since February of 2013, I have been visually attacking it, visualizing and attacking and attacking and attacking. And that's why we're here tonight. Think about this. At the end of the day, you can start taking steps forward every day to go against it, doing positive daily rituals that create tiny victories, more momentum, more confidence, bigger victories, even more confidence, and so on and so forth. Confidence and momentum doesn't start out big. But it operates just like a snowball going downhill. It's a snowball effect. As you continue to go downhill, you pick up speed. You gain more confidence. You gain more momentum. And then nothing can stop you. And all the things that you thought was hindering you, you're able to go through them. As I like to say, you can say to your obstacles, hey, you can either roll or you can get rolled on. It's just that simple. Point number 3. Another thing that can ruin you, that can ruin your life, is when you try to avoid being wrong at all costs. This is a big one. Because if you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original. You'll never come up with anything original. Here's why. Because to make mistakes or be wrong is to be human. It's to be human. To admit those mistakes show that you have the ability to learn and are growing stronger and wiser. Truth be told, being wrong and not getting what you expected is oftentimes a wonderful stroke of brilliance, because it forces you to reevaluate things. And it often will open new doors to opportunities and information you would have otherwise overlooked. Some things in life undoubtedly fall apart, so better things can fall together in their place. I'm going to say it again. Some things in life undoubtedly falls apart, so better things can fall together in their place. Are you with me? Point number 4. And this is probably out of the 7 I'm going to give, this is probably the most personal for me. The 4th one is when you resist the past and deny the truth. You resist the past and deny the truth. Why do I say this? Because there are moments when I wish I could roll back the clock and take all the sadness away. And if you've been following me, 2016 was the worst year of my life. There are many things in 2016 that I wish that I could just turn back the hands of time, and I wish that certain things would have never happened. But as I've gotten older, as I've gotten wiser, as I have matured, as I've evolved, what I've learned is that those things have helped design and help me become the person I am now. So as a person who used to live with a lot of regrets in their life, I don't live with as many regrets now because I understood. But I also know that if I somehow could roll it back, all the joy I've experienced would be gone as well. And the reality is I can't change the past anyway. Guess what? You can't change the past anyway. You don't have a time machine. You can't go back in time. You don't have any plutonium. You don't have a flux capacitor. You can't go back in time. When you learn that, here's what you must know. The past must be accepted. When you accept the past, regardless to how painful it is, you allow yourself to grow and to heal. And I'm telling you what I know because I'm in the midst of it. For example, when someone breaks your heart, it's not easy to deal with, but you can heal. As long as you're willing to accept the circumstances and then gradually let them. Pierre, you silly. But you can heal as long as you're willing to accept the circumstances and then gradually let them go. And the reason Pierre, the reason I know the components to make a time machine is because Back to the Future is one of my all-time favorite trilogies. That's why. But anyway, you may catch yourself thinking, why did I ever love him? Why did I ever love her? I should never have given them my heart. But that's not a helpful thought, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't love him or her, your heartbreak never would have happened. But you did love him, but you did love her. That's the reality. And accepting that reality and everything that followed is a part of letting it go and growing from it. You don't get to choose what is true. You only get to choose what you do about it. I'm going to say that again. You don't get to choose what is true. You only get to choose what you do about it. Let's move on to 5. And anyone that has ever been in a bad relationship can appreciate this. Another way that you can ruin your life is when you allow one failed relationship to convince you not to give anyone else a chance. When you allow one failed relationship, to convince you to not give anyone else a chance, you're setting yourself up for failure. Why? Because every wrong relationship leads to the right one. Every wrong relationship leads to the right one. If you can love the wrong person so much, just imagine how much you'll love the right one. Just imagine. Just saying. And oftentimes, the court jesters appear before the real deal comes. Think about this. Every heartbreak that you've ever experienced presents an opportunity to grow into an improved version of yourself. Great love shakes us up. It excites and terrifies us simultaneously, while making us feel so desperate and out of control that we have no choice but to transform our lives. And Pierre, I don't know exactly what you're saying is alternative facts. I don't know about that. But anyway, inbox me what you're talking about is an alternative fact, because I don't know what you're talking about. When it leaves us, we can choose to either become bitter or become better. The question is, will you become stronger and wiser with an increased ability to love, or will you miss the gift? One day someone will come into your life and will make you see why it didn't work out with anyone else. But until then, use every chance you get to grow into the kind of person they couldn't imagine living without. 2 more and then I'm done. Point number 6. You can ruin your life when you choose to pay no attention to the present. It's one thing to have dreams and it's one thing to chase after them, but it's another thing when you completely neglect what's in front of you. And too often, our minds are set on getting somewhere else. Another beautiful day comes to an end with hundreds of unnoticed moments behind us. We didn't notice them because they were insignificant to us. And over time, our entire lives become a massive pile of unnoticed and insignificant moments on our way to more important things. Then the important things. Absolutely. Okay, you said that was in reference to point 4 and changing facts. If you try to change facts, then they become alternative facts. Got you. Yes, that is 1000% correct. I get you now. We got to realize something. The important things when it comes to not paying attention to the present. When we do that, then the important things get rushed through too, to get to the next one and on to the next. until our time is up and we're left questioning, hey, where did it all go? Where it all went? But it doesn't have to be this way anymore. This moment is your life, and you have the choice to make the best of it. The key is to realize that you are not on your way somewhere else. Right now is not just a stepping stone to another place. But guess what? Right now it is the ultimate destination, and you're already here. Which leads me to the final thing, the final point, the final way. And I may do a part 2 on this. We'll just see how the feedback is. But the final way tonight that I'm going to share how you can ruin your life is when you expect and need everything in your life to always go as you planned. I can tell you, I can attest to this, that life is often unpredictable. Some of the greatest moments in your life won't necessarily be the things you do. They'll be the things that happen to you. That doesn't mean you can't take action to affect the outcome of your life. You have to take action. And you will. But don't forget that on any given day, you can step out the front door and your whole life can change in an instant, for better or for worse. To an extent, the universe has a plan that's always in motion. After all, time waits for no man. Time waits for no woman. Think about a butterfly. A butterfly flaps its wings and it starts pouring rain. It's a scary thought, but it's part of life's cycle. All these little parts of the big machine constantly working, sometimes forcing you to struggle, and sometimes making sure you end up exactly in the right place, in the right space at the right time. So basically, I said all that to say this. When you really think about it, you have to realize that you can't be afraid to get back up. One of my mentors, Les Brown, says that if you get knocked down, make sure you can look up. Because if you can look up, you can get up. Don't be afraid to love again. Find the strength to laugh again. Find the courage to feel different yet beautiful. Find it in your heart to make others smile too. One of the things that my friends can tell you about me is that they're not allowed to be sad around me. They're not allowed to be. And so every now and then I may say or do something that they don't expect, and then put a smile on their face. That's what I do. We have to remember that you don't need many people in your life. You just need a few great ones. So don't lower yourself just to have more friends. Because the term friend don't mean what it used to mean. I can attest to that. We have to remember to be strong when things get tough. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be strong all the time, because even the strongest of us struggle. We have to remember that the universe is always doing what's right. It's always doing what's necessary, even when we don't understand it. We have to recognize when we're wrong. You have to recognize when you're wrong and learn from it, because everything we go through is either a blessing or a lesson. When it comes to holding on to certain things, don't hold on too tight, because when you hold on too tight, you close your fist up and you don't allow a blessing to possibly come in. Always look back and see how much you've grown, and be proud of your progress. Celebrate your small victories, because those small victories will allow you to stay in the game. And those small victories will turn into medium-sized victories, and those medium-sized victories will turn into big victories if you stay in the game long enough. Don't change for anyone. Don't change for anyone unless you want to. Give more. Give the things that you love so others can love them too. Don't be afraid to, take photos. And I'm talking about taking photos with no filter, because some people take those filters to a whole nother level and they really damage something that already looks good. I'm just saying, I'm just saying. We see that with plastic surgery. Just ask Lil' Kim, but y'all didn't hear me say that. And then also remember the little moments and the way that your loved ones look at you. This is important. So I just, we got started a little late because of the technical difficulties, but I just basically share with you 7 ways